He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi, lo-fi a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio
Holy
audience.
moly, Shane!
Can you hear me?
Here, I can hear you now, dude. Holy crap! It was for a second there. It was looking a little sketchy.
You know, touch and go, but we've got it running. We've
We
got
we
it
figured it
going.
out, man. That's what hardcore guys do, man. You gotta make it happen. More than likely, it's gonna fail, and you gotta push it through. All right. Well, welcome to episode number 6 of the Lo-Fi Horror Guys Growing on You Live. I am joined by a contributor on the Ghoulish Gary book, a contributor on Blood on Black Wax, and all-around badass as far as artists in the art community, my man, Shane Lewis. Shane, thank you so much for being on today. Welcome, buddy.
Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah. All right. So basically, if you haven't seen the show, it kind of breaks down. I do a couple of icebreaker questions, some more personalized stuff, some individualized stuff toward you, and then we have an all new end segment that's just specially for you, my doggy.
Oh man, I'm stoked.
Now, first of all, if you didn't notice my shirt here, let me lower this. I wore this specifically for you. Tell me about this shirt.
Oh, that's an awesome shirt. That's well, it's No Country for Old Men. I actually have that shirt.
I know. That's why I wore it.
Yeah, that's the convert sales shirt or whatever.
Yeah, it
right?
is. Yeah, the old heads or tails. Yep.
Yeah, that's used to be like my go-to shirt I wear to a Comic-Con, so like I could always pick out the dudes that were gonna like my posters because I'd wear that shirt and they go, "Oh, look at I love that guy."
Nice, nice. Hook, line, and sinker, dude. That's perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's an awesome, great movie.
Yeah, I was watching some of your stuff, and I think it was like a convention of some sort that you were on, and I saw that, and I was like, dude, I have that shirt. That shirt's so sick. Of course I'm gonna wear that. Why wouldn't I?
I remember seeing that in their merch store, and I'm like, it doesn't even say Converge, but it has anti.
I know. I know. So sick, man. All right, so we're going to dive right into a couple of questions here. Just going to get into some icebreakers, man. We're going to get this started. You all good, buddy?
That sounds great, man.
All right, sick. Right off the bat, slap me with 3 of your favorite artists, you being an artist yourself.
I would say I've always been a real big fan of Chad Lenger, who's a Ohio guy. He's a tattoo artist now. He used to do a lot of merch designs for like cholera and salt the wounds. I've always been really into him. As far as like my print artist, I really like Aaron Horkey. Like his he's one of those guys that I look at his stuff to get inspiration as to like how to kind of push my stuff forward. And I've always really liked Albrecht Dürer, the old engraving artist that used to do all the paintings and stuff. I'm super into his stuff. Yeah.
Sick. Okay, that rules. That's awesome. Yeah, I know Aaron Horkey for sure. I think I have a couple of his things. I believe I have. Now I'm having a brain fart. I'll have to get back to you. I think I have one of his prints, and I'm trying to think of which one it is because I think I have 2 different artists that I have prints of that are both Horkeys, and they're not related or like whatsoever the same person. So I don't want to shout out the wrong person. This is gonna be a little bit of a brain picker here. Okay, so you and I, all right, we're gonna make a graphic novel. Okay, and it's gonna be a zombie-based graphic novel.
Yeah.
So you being an artist and having, your mindset and everything, what are we going to do different that's just going to change it a little bit even from the rest of because the zombie subculture in general is kind of oversaturated. What would we do to really change the game?
That's kind of funny you asked about that. I skip for a comic at one point, like way back in the day. I was thinking it'd be cool if like you were to have some sort of like horror movie like in that vein. Like initially I was thinking like Aliens or some sort of like kind of like a play on what was it, Cocoon, but way more extreme. Okay. Like the zombies or aliens are in the senior living community and it's just slowly like going crazy. A person up against all. I thought that was
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's sweet. All right, nice. That was right off the head, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you. Give me what's that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was sparked from a really weird nightmare.
Nice, nice. What's your art origin story?
So the way I got into doing art was basically the way I got into doing art was I got into playing music. So I started playing drums when I was really young, and I had a buddy that asked me. I barely played drums. He goes, "Hey, you know how to play drums, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and I really didn't. And then we started a band. That's pretty much how next one. And we're like a year in, and we needed a logo. And I was like the only one that had a computer then, and it was like 2002 or whatever, 2003. So we sat down in Paint Shop Pro, and I made like the first band logo, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I started like doing all our shirts, and then slowly that just morphed into me doing way more work for bands than actually being in bands, even though I still kind of did it. But it just was one of those things where the thing like slowly teetered in the other direction. So as I got out of like high school, I stayed in bands for a while, but I was going to college and I got more just 100% into art, and got out of college, worked in advertising agencies for 4 years, like in-house. And then I kind of wanted to start doing my own thing and make something that could kind of last a while and give me a legacy. So I was like, okay, I need to get out of this and start working on things that I like and things that I would want to see out there. So right now I'm doing that, kind of working with all the different kinds of clients and just trying to make the best looking things possible. As lame as that sounds.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's sick. I didn't know you're a drummer, dude. We'd have been talking about that all along. I play drums in a band too, so that's slapping. Sweet.
Yeah, I played drums. I played from the time I think I was 12 till about 23. I was playing pretty regularly in some form of band. So
Sick. Okay, well, that's sweet. Yeah, and we're gonna get back to as far as just your origin with doing designs and whatnot for hardcore bands too, and just that whole community in general. But first, I wanted to talk about you have a new project that you recently worked on that's going to be coming out for Record Store Day. Can you tell us about that?
yeah, so a lot of people may know that I do a lot of work with 1984 Publishing, who's put out a lot of books, like you mentioned, Blood on Black Wax, Gary Poland's book. We've also done the Ad Nauseum series. We did, a handful of different books, and now we've got a new one coming that was supposed to come out on Record Store Day, but it was delayed because of everything that's going on. So it'll be coming out soon. But I heard that you got a copy, so I was thinking.
I haven't, dude. I am patiently waiting. I am so stoked. Oh my god, there it is. So ill, dude.
Yeah. So we were hoping.
Can you flash us a page?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Is that illegal? I'm not trying to get no one in trouble. That thing is banging, dude. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of awesome stuff in there. It's, super fun to work on.
Sick.
That one was real cool because it was, the Blood on Black Wax was all horror, which was sweet, but at the same time, like, doing the sci-fi and fantasy one is cool because it encompasses way more movies and genres, just because fantasy can kind of be a little bit of everything. So there's this really cool, like, wide variety, like, everything from Mac and Me to the old Star Wars, like, jazz albums and the weird, like, Christmas special album and all that. There's a lot of really cool exclusives in there, I guess.
Sick. Yeah, that's sweet. I know. I am patiently waiting. How did you get involved with 1984 as far as those projects too, and working on those?
So I met Matt, the guy that runs 1984 Publishing at Comic Con. I think it was Cleveland Comic Con, and it was just going a little slow, or was it Akron? I can't remember. And it was a little slow, so I was kind of just going around talking to people. I saw he was there, and he had done the alternative movie poster books at that point. And at that time, I was doing a lot of alternative movie posters, so I was like, hey, maybe if I tell this guy I can lay books out, eventually I can be in this movie poster book, was my first thought. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use my graphic design to get my illustrations further ahead was my initial plan. And so I'm like, hey, I can lay out books and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like trying to schmooze Matt or whatever. And, I think he had a layout artist at the time, but I kind of made enough of an impression, and my parents actually met him, and unbeknownst to me, were like, hey, you should hire my son. He's really good at design and stuff the whole time. So, like, of course, apparently he can design as his parents think he can too. So he called me like a couple.
Right. You're like, please stop, Mom.
Yeah, and he's like, well, but I was like, it was kind of embarrassing, but it's like, he's like, oh, I remembered you. And I'm like, oh, it's for something. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, we got started working on the first book I did was the Mel Sandwich Anarchy book for him. So we were working on that book for him. He's the guy that does all the Mel's sandwich shop that has like posters for every different sandwich that they have, and he does all. We collected all those posters into one book, and that was pretty sweet. And then I've just worked on it since then, and it was pretty awesome.
So now you work with 1984 as far as these books and the illustration layout and whatnot, but then you also have your own. You do prints. You do. You've got merch on Threadless. You have some stuff on 1988.com, and then what's the hcgart.com. Those sites you can get some of your stuff, but if somebody's looking to commission a piece from you, something custom, what's the best route in getting a hold of you?
The best route of getting a hold of me is either through email or direct message on Instagram. I check both of those all the time. I'm always commissions. I'll have people get a hold of me, and they'll be like, oh, can you draw my favorite character? Or I've had people, because I've got a different looking style, they'll want me to draw some character that maybe they made in a new way. So I've been doing a lot of those lately.
Okay. And one of the cool things that I see about your stuff in particular is, and what I like a lot of times with artists that generally draw my eye is you do characters that you can point out, you do things that you can point out and say, oh yeah, that's it. But you look at it and you can also tell that it's your stuff.
Yeah.
As far as it's like a specific style to it.
Yeah. I always try to make sure that I'm like adding something to it, because it's, it always feels weird to me when it's like, because it's like when you create something that looks just like the thing, if it looks too right on the money, it means you're almost kind of not doing enough to push it to that level to get it looking different. And sometimes I prefer it to look a little wrong than right, just because then it will be, I guess, more natural.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, by me saying that, it's absolutely complimentary. I love it. And that's something too I see a lot of times with like tattoo artists, for instance. Some of the tattoos that I have, I go to a guy named Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. But the thing is he has his takes on his things, and I come up to him with an idea, and then he comes back to it, and it's like I can still tell that it's his stuff, which I love, but then it's also the image that I wanted. So that's always a complimentary thing to artists. So high five to you, my doggy. So your art, going on your site and checking out some of your merch, you have a wide variety of stuff. You have horror. You have it'll go into cartoons to Dragon Ball Z to wrestling characters. Tell me about some of your favorites and where those where those came from.
So you mentioned the wrestling ones. Those are some of my recent favorites I got to do. So when I work with Gallery 1988, we get to do like official prints they'll get like a license. So I've done stuff for like, I got to do a piece for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they bought it from me, which was pretty sweet recently. And
oh, dang, sick.
We got to do official prints for WWE. So they're like, oh, we got the WWE license. You can pick from any of these stars except a handful that were off the list. And I was like, well, I can do Stone Cold and Kane. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like,
what?
And then I had to do like a sketch for each of them. And they got sent to Stone Cold and Kane to get approved by their team. And they approved them, and then I had to make them, and which was awesome. And it was a super fun project. But that one was one of my favorites because it's like, I grew up in the boons where like you didn't have comic book shops growing up. Like I read comic books now, but I'm still not a big like comic book dude, and that's because they're on me growing up. Like I always tell people like the superheroes of like the Boondocks are like wrestlers. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin was like Superman to me. Going on, kind of thing like that. That's how it was growing up doing that. So it's like I got a print for him. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. It's like,
Were you dying all your youth to turn 21 just so you could clank a couple of beers together and make them splash everywhere?
The funniest to me is that like I got to do Stone Cold, which is awesome, but it's funny that you know, WWE's changed so much over the years that like I couldn't put some of his like best sayings on the poster because they don't allow it anymore.
Yeah,
Like
right.
when I did the very first draft, I tried to sneak it past having hell like in it, but it was basically half hidden, like so you could just see the kind of the H and then the ELL.
Right.
And, oh, we see what you're doing. No.
Oh man, that sucks, dude.
Like Texas rattlesnake at the bottom or something, but it ended up being pretty cool. Yeah, the only feedback Stone Cold actually had was he just wanted me to make him look younger. And I was like, well, I can understand that.
Nice, nice. I don't want 4 or 5 chins. Bring it back to when I was just a 1.
Really,
He's
yeah,
even fat though now, so I can't say that. He's gonna beat my ass.
So you hear the you're gonna be
Right. Oh my god, that's funny. All right, so going back to you and your artistry and your craft there. What are some of the utensils that are just must-haves to have in your home?
So my utensils aren't like super crazy. Like I work on a light table. Like I do iterative drawings. So I usually draw something 4 to 5 times before I ink it, or sometimes I'll even ink something 3 or 4 times before I even say it's done. It's a little bit of a hassle, but it's one of those things where it's like I only use pretty simple tools. So like my pen, I just use Pilot Precise pens, just like your typical office pen basically, but I've just been using them forever. So they work, you know, perfect for me. Like someone may pick it up and be like, this pen's a piece of crap. And it kind of is, but they're sweet. Like, you know, it works for what it needs to work for you, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So you just use typical paper in Bristol, and that's all I pretty much need.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sweet. I mean, you know, it's just kind of one of those things, like the behind the scenes of it. As far as there's some people that you know that they are particular about this. There's other people that are, you know, real, and so I just think it's interesting to see, you know, as far as what certain people prefer, because you know, there are things out there. You could buy a pen that's $6,000 and be like, man, this thing is garbage, you know, and then you could go and grab something just from like a Staples or whatever's local, and it be a couple of bucks, and you're like, this is what I love using.
Yeah, really, for any artist, it's really what someone's most comfortable with. Like, whatever someone's been using the longest is what they're probably going to make the best art with. They understand how that pen works. I know exactly when these pens are going to get stuffed with paper and stop working. And sometimes I'll get so into a drawing, I swear I can feel like the ball rolling in the pen tip. Like I can, you know what I mean? Like, sense it. I don't know. But
Right. Okay, now going back to earlier. Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, once you work with something like that for so long, like you get to that point where you're like, I feel like I know right when it's gonna run, basically.
Okay. Now going back to earlier, I was mentioning as far as us in the hardcore community being resourceful with things. Do you have anything in your utensils or that you use by chance that it wasn't originally what it was meant for? So like, for instance, I do art every once in a while, and you know, to get a circle spray painting, I use like a Pringle can top. Like any little goofy things like that?
Yeah, sometimes I've got like pretty much every circle I've ever drawn has been just this tape roll that I have sitting on my desk. I've also done like weird projects in the past where I took like I did this whole show, I think it was like 2 years ago now, where I took all these like bargain bin vinyl, and I worked with this local record shop called Square Records, which luckily they're opening back up, which is sweet. If you're an Ohio person, you should check them out.
Sick.
They let me have all their bargain bin records, so like Slim Whitman, all the classics, all the 50-cent records, and I drew over top the covers and made them super evil. So that was kind of one of the fun things I got to work on, where I took something that would ascribe any value to, and then kind of like brought it back to being cool again. You know,
Sure.
Collecting dust in the 10-cent bin.
Okay. All right. Now with movies, be it horror movies, be it science fiction, fantasy, what are some that have caught your eye visually? Maybe not necessarily to say like, I guess, in an artist's eye, but what are some movies that come to mind right away that have caught you visually?
I've been a big. I was really into Midsummer and Hereditary. I'm getting really. I like. I love suspenseful movies. I like whenever it's just perfectly crafted. And I feel like those movies are getting there. And I really like how the daylight horror element is just something I'm getting more and more into as I see more and more of it. Just like things actually happening when you can perfectly see them, and like putting all the details of how crazy that is. Like, and I feel like both Hereditary and that movie do that super, super well, both from a design and artistic point as well. So,
I agree. I agree. Also, have you seen The Lighthouse?
I haven't seen The Lighthouse yet. Everyone keeps telling me to see.
Oh,
Oh, you like black and white stuff. You'd love this, and it's like, oh, maybe I'll check it out.
oh yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, with all the black and white stuff that you do too, man. That movie, whenever you get an opportunity, man, like just even visually, as far as like the cinematography and the direction of it is insane. There's some people that watch it and absolutely hate it. I adore it.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain I'll love it when I watch it. It's definitely one of those movies where I'm like, I want to be in the perfect mood and like be like 1,000% paying attention to it to watch it. But the one fear of mine though is I had that same view on Blade Runner and I didn't see it till like this year because I'm like, dude, I need to have everything lined up. And never watched Blade Runner until last year.
Was that good? I never watched it.
Oh, I love Blade Runner. Yeah, it's like one of my favorite movies now. But I feel like I'm like late to the party. I'm like, man, you see Blade Runner with Ford back in the day in the '80s, and they're like,
Oh no, I'm talking about the sequel. I've seen the original one.
oh yeah, I hadn't seen the original until last year.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that's for sure. That's a go-to. You know what's crazy? I mean, as far as like movies just recently watching, have you ever seen The Dark Crystal?
No, I actually don't think I've seen that all the way through. I know that is it the new? Are you talking about the new one, the one on Netflix, right, or the old one?
No, the like the original movie.
Yeah, the Jim Henson one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I never watched it all the way through, but I love the creature designs in that movie. Like,
That was one of those movies I had never seen, and my wife pushed me for years and years, just would dog the crap out of me about like, you have to watch this movie, just being a fan of like artwork and visuals and then the puppeteering in it. That movie, if you get a chance, that movie is, and there's some creepy stuff into it too, you know, as far as being a kid's movie. It's really good.
I remember seeing like a behind the scenes when I was a kid on like PBS or something. And they showed those giant vultures like going around, and they had the little guys behind them with the controllers like hunched over. Like it's so
Yeah,
wild.
right. Now, as far as, you know, getting back into movies a little bit, what is your horror origin story?
Horror origin story. So was really not into anything scary probably until I was into high school. Maybe middle school. I started reading like John Saul books and stuff like that, and Steve.
Okay.
But growing up, I saw Child's Play on TV, like way too young. It warped my little head. And handle horror movies for like a decade, basically. It like came up when I was 3, scared the crap out of me, and then of course, you know, anything like that, it always goes like, yeah, I'd go stay at my grandma's house or whatever. She's got like a doll collection. And I'm like, oh, can this get any worse? And I'm just, maybe I don't like horror movies, so I didn't watch them for a long time. But now I'm into pretty much everything. I'm not super into slashers or anything like overtly like gore for the sake of gore, but I like most scary movies and stuff as long as like, you know, as long as it's enjoyable and I can't like completely predict it from the start. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody has kind of their own little tweaks, and I think that's something interesting to hear as far as, I mean, now you'd mentioned science fiction. Do you have have you had a love for that for a long time, comics? Or wait, you said you you weren't really super into comics for a while there.
I always like science fiction and whatnot. I mean, what I was always super into, I played a ton of computer games growing up, like old computer games. So I was always into like playing StarCraft and that kind of jazz. And like, some of my first like influences, I think, to start inking when I was a kid was the like the Diablo and like the StarCraft manuals you used to get, and the things they'd have all these awesome like ink drawings in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of fantasy stuff. I used to play StarCraft, so I like all that and all that sci-fi, and then get up and moved on to other games, Dark Force and Star Wars and the whole 9 yards.
Okay, all right, sick. Yeah. Now, as far as with all the stuff, I kind of collected a little bit of an idea as far as for our final segment here. I have a couple of things out of my personal collection. May it be hitting on, artwork, may it be hitting on comic, cartoony, horror, music. And we're starting a new segment today here with my doggy, Shane Lewis. And this is a new segment called Spell It Out.
Okay.
All right. So have you ever seen the posts on Instagram where it's like the stack and people are spelling their name or anything like that with movies?
Oh yeah, I think I've seen those maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of a thing like in the horror community where people take like Blu-rays and they'll take the first letter of whatever the movie is and they'll spell out like their handle, or they'll spell out their name or whatever. And so I found a couple of things out of my collection that I am going to spell Shane with, and I want to get your input on these particular things. If you've ever seen them, heard them, saw them, anything like that, a little story behind them, anything. Are you ready, Shane?
Oh, yeah, that sounds sweet, man.
All right, man. So we're gonna start out. We're going to start with the first letter of Shane. It's going to be S. All right? Tell me if you've ever seen or heard of this.
Seen or heard of that? Is that...
Surf Nazis Must Die.
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't think I've ever watched the movie. I've been to enough horror cons where I've seen like dudes walking around with shirt on.
Okay. It's an earlier trauma movie, and if it tells you anything, the protagonist in the movie is Leroy's mama, which is just this big old burly lady that is just knocking off left and right these surf Nazis. It's as ridiculous as you think.
I mean, you gotta knock them off the boards, man. They can't.
Right. All right. So second up, this is for H. All right. Tell me if you've ever heard this, if you listen to them, if you're a fan, what you think of H2O.
H2O. So I know that's an old school hardcore band. I'm trying to think if that's the. So I'm a little bit not well versed in like straight edge hardcore as much as I am, because they're straight edge, right?
Yeah.
That's what I remember their video with what was it? Wasn't Michael Rappaport in one of their videos? They had
Yep.
Yeah. That's I was trying to remember. I'm like, okay, I remember that song. It's like "Take It Back to How It Was" or something or other like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Very
aware.
Cool. Okay, sick. I know. I didn't know where your hardcore went to as far as extent or music wise, but I just picked out a couple of things, and we're gonna keep on digging and see what we get. All right. So for A, the third letter, I picked out one of my personal favorite records. I don't know if you've ever listened to or know, but the Acacia Strain.
Oh yeah,
Continent.
Those guys are awesome. I've seen them a handful of times. Got to see them at this real small venue in Cleveland Peabody's that doesn't exist anymore, which was really awesome. Yeah, I've been listening to them for a while because they were a band that, like my band I had in high school, like we listened to them a lot, and we listened to Despised Icon, so we were real into that, like ultra aggression. We're angry at everything, even though things aren't that bad, kind of deal. And basically, I that kind of music when I'm like, man, stuff's kind of coming together. I really am having a hard time writing angry things still. Like,
I know. It's such a true statement, dude. That's so funny.
It's like the second album problem. People always talk about people have a really good first album. It's because they've been writing it their whole life, and then it does well, and then they're no longer in that place anymore. And then it's like, oh shit, it's like we never had it.
Yeah.
But like I hit that first thing, I'm like, well, I've run out of things to be mad about.
Yeah. It's so funny too. So the last time I saw the Acacia Strain, I had a kid come up who we were just kind of talking about the show in particular. So I'm sitting there and he's like, I'm like, oh yeah, are you excited for Acacia Strain? Because they hadn't played yet, and that was the reason why I was there. And he was like, no, actually, I was here to see the opening band. Like they have this new EP out and they're sick, and like I'm just waiting for somebody to come pick me up now. I'm trying to leave, and I'm like that's like such a thing right now in hardcore that drives me nuts. Like you paid $25 to see the opening band and you're not gonna even pay attention to anybody else. Like it drives me crazy.
Yeah, you at least want to hang out for a bit to see if you might catch on to a new band. Like
yeah, it's so silly. But at the end of the day, I go for me and my enjoyment, and so I'm not sitting there and I'm not gonna get into a dispute with somebody over it. It was so funny to me. Just started dying laughing.
Bands I ended up getting in because some show because I saw what the Summer Slaughter in 2008 or 9. I think like Whitechapel opened. That's the only band I knew on the list, and Black Dahlia Murder. And I'm like, okay, I want to see them. And then you're there all day, and I saw all these other bands, and that's the first Despised Icon and all that. And I'm like, oh, that's how you find new stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Shout out to Alex, the drummer at Despised Icon, is just stupid, just ridiculously good.
The flipped stick technique is just crazy to me.
I know. Ghost blasting for days, dude.
Yeah,
yep,
pretty wild.
Crazy. I know. So we have for N, for spelling out Shane, we have Nightmares. Have you ever seen Nightmares, Shane?
I don't think so. No, I don't think I've seen that one.
I'm gonna tell you what, my dog. It's an earlier Emilio Estevez. It's an anthology movie, so there's multiple stories in it. And Emilio Estevez is actually in a short where he is in, and kind of in a sense gets caught in a arcade game.
Nice.
It's sick. Yeah, if you can find it online.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm all for Emilio Estevez anthologies. So man, I'm gonna. Especially if it's arcade and I try to see all the anthologies he's got. So if he's got an arcade one, we gotta get that in the Blu-ray.
That's the movie you gotta get. I got it on Amazon. It was actually, for the longest time, it was rare, so it was super expensive. And just recently they released it. I think Scream Factory released it and got it on Amazon. It was like $15-20, dude. So nothing to it.
Awesome.
All right. So now for the final letter, E, and for the comic book, we have the Dark Horse Comics Evil Dead.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. The artwork, I got to show you a couple of things, man. The artwork in this is absolutely slapping.
Yeah, Dark Horse puts out so many good books. That's awesome.
I love it, man. It's one of my favorites. Dead. Do you like the Evil Dead?
Oh yeah, I like Evil Dead a lot. It's kind of interesting you brought that up. I've been working on a big print off and on for like a year, and it's hard to say if I'll ever finish it, but I want to do it. I used to have this. I did this print a while back where I had Iron Giant versus Godzilla because I was part of this like giant monster show, and I was like, oh, I've never seen those dudes face off. And then I sold those, and once those were gone, I started on the next one, and my next idea was Ash versus Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. And then now I hear that I think he's ended up in the game now, so I'm like, I think I missed the boat.
Yeah.
I think I was like going to do that. I took so long, and now it's happened, and people are like, "Oh, that's the game." So
I have both of those games, and I bought them thinking that Ash was supposed to be in them, and they have like Terminator and Leatherface and all that. I can't get Ash. I don't know if I'm just
be in it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't find the fucker. I'm getting a little irritated with it. I keep buying these $60 and $70 and $80 video games, and I can't find Ash.
Oh, I know. Man, remember back in the day when you could just unlock characters and not buy them?
I know. Nowadays, you have to like buy these bundle packs, and my boy comes up and he's like, "Hey, can I buy such and such all these characters? It comes with like 8 characters." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sweet. Like how much is it?" And he's like, "Well, it's like 40." I'm like, 40 for characters? Back in the day, you just played the game and you would unlock them.
Yeah, you just had to get good.
Yeah. Stop sucking. Just unlock them, dude. Go take your time and play that, and take your frustration on that game. Dude, we unlocked it. That's what's wrong with kids nowadays anyway. They don't have to work to unlock characters. Screw a paycheck.
Their games are too easy now, man. They should just drop you in the deep end. Not give you any clue what you're supposed to do, man. That's the fun. The fun
is it.
Frustration is fun.
I know. And I'll tell you about frustration is trying to play video games, and then you have to sit through a 50-minute monologue of what the story is that's going on before I can even get it. Like, I was never super into RPGs or anything like that, and so that was never my thing. And nowadays, I feel like that's all video games are.
Oh yeah, they're movies with gameplay elements.
Drives me nuts. All right, buddy. Well, that concludes our episode. To final off, if you can, let us know what you're working on. Let us know what you got going on. Shane Lewis, everybody.
I'm going to be working on some new prints. Pretty soon I'm going to have some prints in Gallery 1988's Crazy for Cult show that they do every year, where they put a lot of cult movie posters out. I think I'm probably going to be doing a Easy Rider print set of both the bikes, so people can look.
Sick.
I currently have a lot of projects I'm kind of working on in the background. There's a new book coming from 1984 that's mysterious as to who's the subject. It's going to be a musician, so that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it was a lot of fun being on the show with you, man, today, and I hope you have me back at some point, and I hope everyone enjoyed listening to us talk and all that.
Absolutely. I dig it, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on and taking the time out of your day, dude. You have so much going on, so thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. It was a good time.
All right, buddy. Well, we are going to conclude this and wrap it up. We're going to stay in touch. Everybody, if you have not followed Shane Lewis, he has such sick stuff, great stuff. It's your boy, the Lo-Fi Horror Guy. We are out of here. We're going to slap you with a 3, 2, 1. Take care.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi, a horror guy. Yeah.